Hi, Amit and Shubham. Welcome to Finisher Talk. It's a great pleasure to have you both with us today. Um, you're here because you've achieved a humongous feat. You've completed the Hell Race Border, which is a 100-kilometer race under extremely grueling conditions. Thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us a little bit about yourselves first.
I'm Amit Kshirsagar, and I've been running for last 5 years. I started running in 2016. My background is I'm from the IT field, typical IT job. Um, I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and which basically was due to the weight gains in way back in 2000. So 15 years to 16 years, I was quite overweight. I uh, I had BP during all those 16 years, and then to overcome that, I basically took up biking. But I could not do bike much after 2016, so running was the easiest way. Just you have to just get in your shoes and that's it. You can do it anywhere, kind of thing, while you are traveling or uh, so. So I started running in 2016 and then got addicted to it.
So myself is Shubham, and on a very serious note, I started running last 4 years back. I think 2017. I took up this running thing, and I had a very lethargic lifestyle. As Amish said, I'm also from the IT background, so our working culture, fooding habit, and sleeping patterns are totally different. Uh, if you compare to other people who have their different day job, so our job is totally different. So I had a very lethargic lifestyle, and I was a chain smoker as well before I took up the running journey. So in 2017, I started taking it up a very serious note, and I did my first full marathon in Hyderabad, and then I went to Mumbai. And the timings were not very good, and I was not chasing for the timing. I was just looking for if I can do something for my health, because initially there was no competition thing. It was just like for the health. And for me, still it's like I do running for my health. I'm a raw runner. I don't have any time competitiveness. Where whatever comes as per my effort, I'm totally happy with that. So first I did in 2017 my full marathon in Mumbai, and after that I started going for few ultra runs. So first run I went to Chennai, Javadu 75 kilometer. And it's really hooked me in a different zone. And I started focusing more on the ultra running part. So after this Javadu ultra, then I went to this Khardungla challenge I have did in 2018. And then that was a 72 kilometer in different altitude and all. And then I went to Malnad, I did 110 kilometer. So that's the complete trail run. So I really enjoyed that. And in between, in 2019, we went to South Africa, I think, which Amit has did twice, the comrade run. Up and down he has did, but I have just went for the up run. And after that, recently another ultra I did in Singhad Rajgat Torna, that Singhad Epic Trail Run. That was a 55 kilometer, I think 53 kilometer. So, and later on this, Amit has only planned this race. I was not aware of much about this race. So Amit had some idea. And last year, one of the lady from our HR group, she ran there 50 kilometers. So she had posted something, and that's really, we liked the pictures he posted, the way that, environment and atmosphere was there. So we really liked that. And so Amit said, let's try it. So initial plan was for 100 kilometer, but what I said, if we are going so far, why 100 kilometer? Let's do 160 kilometers. Let's hang around a little bit more in that arena. And that was a very wise decision we took. And we took the challenge, and the training was, see, for running 160 kilometer, you don't have to run 100 kilometer or 100 odd kilometer in training phase. So monthly we had our, what we do once this corona period started, we initiated one, monthly marathon kind of event every month. Our close group, every month we run one full marathon. If people wants to do more than that, they are welcome to do that. So that was the training plan. And normally we run more than 300 kilometer in a month. So that is our regular training. There was no specific training for this 160 kilometer. So we opted for this and we went to Jaipur and Jaisalmer and we did this run, and experience is just a history. We just loved it.
Tell us a little bit about the race. What is the Hell Race Border? Tell our viewers what exactly it is. Why was it started? What are the conditions? What drew you to it?
So the first thing is when I was looking for the races, because there were no races, all the races were because of the pandemic. This one race was still on. One race before it was from the same guys, the Hell Race folks. It was in, I think in Manali. It was there, but we did not have time to prepare for that. And obviously it's a high altitude race, so the acclimatization and other stuff would take a lot of time. So we decided that, okay, this border is there. And the most important part for selecting the border race was because it is for tributing the martyrs of the 1971 war. So that actually was the driving force that, okay, we have to run the race. There were only few soldiers who were fighting, more than 4,000 soldiers of Pakistan. We have all seen the border movie. So one interesting part, what Mr. Sandhu, who is the race director for this race, he had called me once and he told me that the generations before that knew about this battle. After border came, our generation, they knew about it because of the movie. But after that, the new generation, they have no idea about this, the war. So he said that I wanted to have something which will, each year it will dedicate a run to this war heroes. And that actually got motivated me that, okay, we should definitely go and do this race. So the most interesting part of the race was the kind of terrain. What I wanted, I've been to Comrades twice. And Comrades is obviously, it's one of the oldest and largest ultra marathons in the world. It's a road ultra race. But you never get a feeling of the real ultra in Comrades because of the number of people they are cheering you by the roadside. So there are 500,000 people standing across the road throughout the course. So at no point you are running alone. They are giving you a real feeling of that ultra.
So it's just like you're running multiple marathons.
Yeah, it's running two marathons. Yeah.
Right.
And there are all the families basically join you for that run. They run with you with food and other stuff. So you are literally, it's kind of a party of 92 kilometers. So of course the terrain is very tough. The up run basically has close to 2000 meter terrain, and while the down run has close to 1500 meters of elevation gain. But the feel is not the real ultra, I would say. So here I wanted to experience that, the loneliness of that ultra and how basically it pushes us as a human, that we wanted to experience. So that one aspect was there. The other was it starts at an unusual time of 12 noon of Rajasthan. So though we feel that, okay, it's 25 degrees Celsius, your watch is showing, but the real feel is 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. And once you start running, then you realize that it's really dry. So those first part of the race is very crucial. You have to run very sensibly. Otherwise, it's going to drain you out. And the second part of the race, which basically is starts at the midnight when it's all desert cold. The temperature drops here under 0 degrees and the wind chill. So it's kind of both the temperature as well as the terrain. That makes the real challenge for this race that we wanted to experience. So we basically.
So it's a combination of grueling factors. It's not just
combination of grueling factors. Yep.
What are the highlights of the run? What did you like? What did you dislike? What were the emotional impact items of the race?
Race is, the name of the race, the Hell Race. It's really, as per the name, it's really hell. If you're not well trained, not well prepared, it's really hell. And as Amit said, the race start from unusual time from 12 p.m. noon, and that time the temperature is really high, and you have to first 50 kilometer you have to cover in a open sun, because there is no shade, nothing, there is not even a single tree while you start your run. And even when you end your run, there is no single tree you will find the tree in night time when they are not needed. So race really predict as its name. And the temperature part, one thing I loved it personally, because in Hyderabad we don't get the cold temperature. And when we were in Jaisalmer and when we started, and the night temperature was I think 3 to 4 degree, and real feel was I think minus or maybe -1 or 2 degrees Celsius. And we were in total 5 layers. So that's the one part I loved about the race. And the journey you start and once you finish, that 27 hours we took, me and Amit took 27 hours to complete the race. And that journey we can talk about, people can listen about it, but you can really feel it when you go through it.
So the most interesting part for me was, of course, when we started running after the sunset. Uh, Once we had the sunset, it was the next day, it was the full moon day. So it was pretty close to the full moon on that night also. And so so at 50-kilometer mark, we had our drop back where we picked up our headlights. We carried one headlight as well as one torch and few extra batteries. And we were prepared for the entire night because we knew that that is going to be needed. But since there was moonlight and it was sufficient enough.
Okay, Amit, so you would be camping at night. You would camp. You would take care of yourself. Isn't that a requirement of these ultras?
No, we weren't prepared to stop anywhere. The thing about if we stop, we are going to sleep, and if we sleep, then that's it. The body basically cools down.
Sure.
Each step should be towards the finish line. That is the key.
So you have to continuously keep running. You cannot
Continuously keep running. Yeah.
And what about support? Is there support along the way? Is it support that follows you? Or do you have to go to stations, support stations? How does that work?
So the support station were 10-kilometer apart. They were exactly 10-kilometer apart. So there were one vehicle, a support vehicle, which were waiting for us at each 10-kilometer mark. Now, one key rule of the race is that you cannot, if my water gets over or any food or anything or any electrolyte, basically it's over. I cannot get a refill during those 10 kilometers, in between those 10 kilometers. If they see us, then we are disqualified. You cannot buy water from anywhere. So that's one of the rules. So you have to make sure that you are running with those 10 kilometers of support stuff, whatever food or gels or anything.
So what is the weight you're carrying? Is it a significant weight that you're carrying? Or?
Yes. So what I was prepared, because every individual's water requirement and food requirements are different, how basically they have prepared for. So I was carrying one bag, the camel bag, but I was not carrying the bladder inside it, which had the capacity of about 1.5 liter. Instead of that, I was carrying 2 water bottles of 500 ml, because I knew that after once there is the sunset, I won't need 2 water bottles. So I can I can leave one water bottle at one of the support station and then run with just one water bottle. So that was my plan. And one 500 ml bottle I was carrying in my hand, which had the electrolytes.
Got it.
Also, I was carrying with some of the gels, which we hardly used. We used probably just 2 or 3 gels in the first 50 kilometers, because the SAC stations had enough of the food available there. So we had potato chips, we had some oranges, we had dates, and then biscuits, and of course Coke. So that kind of food made sure that.
What any incident that happened, anything that was of particular, something that you would tell your grandchildren?
During the entire race, Ko?
Yeah.
Okay.
That whole experience, yeah.
So one interesting thing which I have already mentioned in the blog about the hallucinations part which I experienced. I have read in a lot of books that runners, they do experience these hallucinations. Most of the even elite runners also, they do that. And one funny thing happened. It was after 82 kilometers. We were not carrying obviously headlights. We made sure that not carrying. We had not switched on the headlights because there was sufficient moonlight. We had decided that okay, let's experience this run, and the road was in very good condition, so we could do that. So after 82 kilometers, there was absolutely no one, no traffic. We had actually crossed one highway and then took a right turn to one of the lanes, and it was basically a small road. But there was no traffic, there was no vehicles. Both sides had completely barren lands, and no vehicles expected also on those kind of roads. And then suddenly I could see a headlight in front of me. So I got off the road thinking that there is a car coming from behind. So I asked Shubham that, hey, some car is coming and you probably should get out of the road. So he looked behind and says, there's no car. I said, this is interesting. I could see a headlight. And the headlight was gone in like 2 minutes. So then again, we continued. I could not understand. I just ignored at first, and then we continued the run. Then again, in 10 minutes, it happened again. I could see a clear beam of headlight in front of me. So this started happening very often.
Wow.
Then I realized that, okay, this is hallucinations. Basically, your brain is...
is that because of a salt imbalance? Is that because of dehydration?
Not because of the salt imbalance. What I have read is it's about because of a chemical which is released after these activities. It's basically the runner's high also. That actually falsely shows the eyes different images.
Sure.
So
just to add to this point of Amit, when he started hallucinating, and just to avoid that feeling, we started the ghost talk. He just asked one question. So in night, it was about 11:30, and in our Hindu dharma karma, you can say it was a full moon night, about to full moon night, and we are talking about the ghost. Have you experienced it? Have you seen it? And you won't believe there is not even a single dog you can see over the road, and we are just walking, running, and talking about the ghost just to avoid the hallucination part. So that's the one thing was.
Avoiding the hallucinations or inviting the hallucinations? So since you guys were talking, what is the pace you were maintaining? Or were you or were you just going at a comfortable pace? What did you have a target?
So what we were doing is after I think 60 kilometer, we till 60-65 kilometer we were running on 620, 630 pace, 645, 630 to 645 between. But after that we realized, no, this is the pace we are not going to continue till the 160 kilometer. So then we plan 1 mile we are going to run, and then 400 meter we are going to walk. So that is the plan we started doing, and I think it went till 100 kilometer, Amit, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Even after 100 kilometers, actually 110 kilometers roughly, we did that.
Tell us a little bit about the prep. How did you plan for the distance? How did you plan for the conditions?
One advantage that we had, so I live in a community where we have about 1 kilometer of periphery inside loop. So even during pandemic, except 2 weeks of lockdown or 3 weeks of lockdown, during which I did my biking, the running never stopped really. I was always running inside our community. So the real preparation for the race started somewhere in the month of August, when we knew that, okay, I have registered for the race and I have to, next 4 months are going to be the training period for the race. And then gradually we started building up the mileage. The only one thing we made sure that not to run any ultra distances during the training, because then that means that you have to also go through recovery.
The basic requirement for these ultra trainings are you need to run on the tired leg. So tired leg, you need to run on Saturday, few miles. Maybe if you're running 20 kilometer on Saturday, then try to run 30-35 kilometer on Sunday. So you will get that, mileage build up. And also you get the feel of running on your lethargic and tired leg. So that is how we build up our training.
How important is it to have a coach?
I definitely feel one should definitely have a coach. Even my coach has a coach. So
what's your advice to people wanting to take this up? If there's somebody wants to take up something like this, what would you say? Do it, don't do it? what kind of advice you will give?
No, anyone can do this as long as he is well trained. The training is the key here. And the second most important factor is one has to be mentally fit, because the challenge is, like I mentioned earlier, when we were, so after in the last 40 kilometers, what we are not told that it's going to be a rolling hills, and the rolling hills were like really, really high. Some of the hills were like really steep. So last 40 kilometers, at least last 35 kilometers, we could just walk. And another thing we missed was at 50-kilometer point, we kept our sunglasses. We should have not kept it at that sack point. We should not have left out. After 130K, the sandstorm started, and we did not have any glasses to protect our eyes. Yeah. So in such a long race, definitely conditions will change, and one has to be prepared for that. So you have to prepare mentally as well as one has to do a proper training. Then only this is possible. Yeah.
You just not look at the social media and people are posting their picture, completed this race, that race. Don't go by that way. I'll suggest to the people who are trying to attempt these kind of ultras, train well, not only physically, mentally as well, because these are the races where you are just going to be alone. If your pace is not matching to someone else, or someone pace is not matching to your pace, then you have to complete the entire race all alone. So you have to train your body, you have to train your mind, and prepare yourself quite well, because if you won't prepare yourself well, it's going to be a disaster. Don't just look at the social media and go and attempt something for the putting the picture or anything. That's my advice.
Shubham and Amit, it was quite an interesting experience learning about how you went through this grueling race called Border by the Hell Race series.
Yeah.
And it's very inspiring to hear your stories, how you took up running and how you journeyed through to something like an ultra in such grueling conditions, such difficult conditions. I'm sure many of our readers, many of our viewers will be thoroughly inspired by what you told us, and I particularly like your advice of saying, don't do this just for the Instagram likes, but
Yep.
prepare for it and take the race seriously, take the effort seriously, prepare well, and look at it as a life achievement that you can be proud of and can be memorable for the rest of your lives. So thank you so much for being with us today, and all the best for all your endeavors moving forward. The next border race that you may run, the next ultra that you may run, the next big achievement that you may go after. All power to you and all the best. Looking forward to great things from you.
Yep. Thanks a lot.